Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome again to another edition of Brunswick's Best, where Lance takes a look at the greatest players in Minnesota Vikings history to wear a particular number. This week, we take a look at those who have worn number 4 for the purple in this week's edition of Brunswick's Best. So, who you got for us this week, Lance?
None other than Mr. Dalvin Cook himself. Now that I know Dalvin wore 33 for his first 5 seasons here, but he's not wearing that number no more. And I believe going forward in his career, I believe 4 is his number that he's going to hang on to for the remainder of his career. So we'll go with that. I'll take a mental note of that. So when I do get to 33, we'll exclude Dalvin, and I'll probably mention the same thing when we get there. But that's a ways away, so we'll worry about that then.
Yep.
Anyways, Dalvin was drafted by the Vikings in the second round. He fell to us, basically. It was a point where we're like, oh, Dalvin's Cook's here. Let's take him. And that's basically what happened. Granted, we did need a running back that season, and that's because we had just walked away from, or Peterson basically walked away from the Vikings and moved on somewhere else in his career. With that being said, a lot of expectations were on Dalvin Cook's shoulders coming out his rookie year in the league. I think, was it that first year that he faced Peterson and had a dead game and he just totally dominated?
Yeah, it was that game against New Orleans to open the season.
Right, and that was awesome. That was fantastic the way he opened his career against, the guy that he was basically coming in to fill the shoes of. And the way that Cook handled that throughout his rookie season, about the comparisons to Adrian Peterson, and that, you know what, I'm Dalvin Cook. I can do what Dalvin Cook does. Adrian Peterson was a great back, and Cook came in and he showed us what he could do, which was, fantastic. But I believe right now at this point in his career, it might be time to move forward with somebody new. And that's no disrespect to Cook, because he had some amazing games here. And the big knock that I have on Cook is that he couldn't stay healthy. Now, granted, he played every game this last season, but in every season prior to that, he had not completely played an entire full year. And I think the dude's lost a step.
Yeah,
or
I would agree.
He's just taking too much time figuring out where he wants to take that first step. I don't know what it is, but he had a lot of carries this past season that were next to nothing for yardage, and then he would really depend on those long busts that he would take and, for 60 yards later on in the game.
Mm-hmm.
That would help kind of his average as well. No knocks on Cook, but I think if there's going to be any time to move on, this season might be it, especially if we can get some compensation for him. But Cook was a 4-time Pro Bowler in his time to this point as a Minnesota Viking. He has accumulated 5,993 rushing yards and 47 touchdowns in his 6 seasons with the team, along with 1,794 yards receiving and 5 touchdowns in his 6 years with this team. And for that, you make the list this week, Dalvin. Moving along to Mr. number 2 on this week's list. And there's a reason why I have this man at number 2 that wore number 4 so well throughout his entire career. And that man is Brett Favre. Now, Favre came here in 2009 after spending a year with the Jets, where the year that he spent with the Jets, I think he wanted to be in Minnesota the whole time anyways.
Yeah, because he wanted to stick it to the Packers.
Exactly. And I think we were at the top of Brett's list that when he initially came out of retirement to come back and play the first time. But Green Bay had their way, and they shipped him off to New York, and he was a Pro Bowl over there and did what he did in New York. But at the end of that, we were lucky enough. And you know what? At that time, I was like, if we can get Favre still, this dude is going to – it's going to be amazing, because at that point, all we needed was a guy that could get the receiver the ball, because we had some pretty sloppy quarterback play up until Favre showed up in purple and gold. We were lucky to have Peterson running the show basically from 2007 until 2009 when Favre came to town, on offense anyways. So Favre came into town in 2009, had arguably the best season of his career here, throwing 33 touchdowns to only 7 picks. And this is Brett Favre we're talking about here. I think outside of his rookie year, I think this is the only season that he threw for single-digit interceptions in his entire career.
I mean, his career, he was like 2-to-1 touchdown interception ratio or something like that.
Gunslinger all through and through, for sure. And it showed up, we'll get there.
Unfortunately.
So, also speaking of the games that he played against Green Bay, were probably the best games that he played that first year with the Vikings. He went 41-59 for 7 touchdowns and 0 interceptions against his former team in 2009, which is damn good numbers. So, that was just a great year, and so many memories from that year. Unfortunately, it came to an end in New Orleans the way it did, and that, impacted the game going forward. Just because of that game, I believe it really placed emphasis on concussions. That came out more after that game, I believe. And that might have been the last, old school game that we've seen played in the NFL, I think, as far as hard hits go. And and in that game, I had more respect for Favre, the quarterback, than I had for any other quarterback I'd ever seen play the game in the history of football. I've never seen a man get beat down like that and continue to play the game and refuse to quit. Unfortunately, at the end of the day, he made the mistake, which is, kind of a little bit of a foreshadowing in what could have happened, and it happened. Threw across the body to an interception to Porter, I think it was, is his name, Tracy Porter, and that's how our season ended. And the Saints went on to win the Super Bowl. But with that being said, I'm going to leave you with this on Mr. Favre, and this play is what happened when I knew that the Favre magic was in town, and here it is.
2 receivers left and right. Favre out of the shotgun. Chester to his right. 3rd down, 12 seconds to go in the game. Niners lead by 4. Favre back to pass, pumps to the left. 8 seconds left. He gets away from the pressure, fires to the end zone. It's caught! It's Greg Lewis! Touchdown! Oh my heavens! Greg Lewis, welcome to Minnesota! Oh my heavens! Greg Lewis's first catch has given the Minnesota Vikings an improbable victory. No flags on the field. Brett Favre, Greg Lewis. How do you like that?
And if you could just roll up Brett Favre's career into one play, that'd be it right there.
Yeah.
I mean, just magical. Week in and week out, Sunday to Sunday. He just did it. You just didn't know what was going to happen when he was a magician on the field, man. And
well, that was the thing. He could throw some of the dumbest, most boneheaded plays, but 9 times out of 10,
make up for it with a touchdown pass that you just didn't see coming.
Yeah, 9 times out of 10, he'd make up for it later on in the game.
Yep, and just for 2009 alone, Brett, and that silly business that happened in the 2009 or 2010 off season before the 2010 season, just for 09 alone, Brett, you make the list on Brunswick's best. But with that being said, this concludes Brunswick's best, number 4. Thanks for watching, guys.
All right. And don't forget, guys, check out our regular studio show Friday night, 6 p.m. Central Time on our YouTube channel. And also our newest show, Monday nights, Rhino's Rants, where yours truly tackles some of the hot button issues affecting the team and spicy hot takes, rumors, and all that other kind of stuff. So make sure you check those out. Subscribe to the channel. With that, we will see you guys Friday for the main studio show for Vikings Uncensored. Have a good night, everybody.